Iron Contest Master, judges, Intl Toastmasters. 8 a.m., New York City. Matthew Phillip, the 34-year-old financial analyst, is just promising his 9-year-old daughter that he'll be back early from his office to take her to a favorite Harry Potter movie. He kisses his daughter, bids goodbye, and starts walking down the lane. Matthew, who works in an office in central New York, usually takes the suburb trains. But today, decides he'll take the taxi since he's got to be there a bit early. He gets out of the street and catches a taxi, and within minutes ends up caught up in the traffic. Traffic on a normal working day in New York can be so heavy. Matthew is getting tense. He's worried if he'll be late for his assignment at his office. He thinks for a moment and jumps out of that bright yellow cab and starts to walk. Within seconds, he joins hundreds of other office goers who prefer those large pedestrian walkways to get to their offices. Matthew is not making any big effort to walk. The hustle crowd he's walking in is pushing him forward. Matthew is getting tensed by the second. He's going to be late, or will he be there early? By then, the traffic has come to a total standstill. All the cars lined up one behind the other. Some drivers peeping out of the windows, trying to see what the problem is, and most of them already in the streets. Matthew is getting tense as all these cars keep honking alongside. 8:35 a.m. Matthew enters the big street where his office is situated. This is one of the busiest streets in New York City. It houses most of the corporates. Matthew pauses for a second to pick up a call and cannot help but stare and enjoy the enthralling view of his workplace. That street kept him so much glued on to it. The neat 4-lane roads, the biggest, his all-time favorite, the McDonald's outlet in the city, and his office perched on those majestic twin towers that stood there jubilantly. He finishes his call, rushes towards the super-fast elevators that will take him to the 82nd floor in less than a minute and a half. He rushes out of the elevators, greets his fellow staff members, and gets to his cabin. And before he can start on his assignment, he takes a pause to look out of the large glass windows that dominate that road. He is enjoying the aerial view of the New York City, the one routine thing that he does every day before starting his work. Matthew is busy on his assignment. At the same time, newly wedded James has just boarded flight M727 and is happily sipping down the complimentary drink that was given to him on board. James was just wondering where he could take his wife to for their honeymoon. Both these gentlemen were at that time completely unaware of what was going to happen that would change their fate thereafter. Suddenly, the flight has shifted course, and it has caused a lot of confusion with the air traffic controllers. Before they could respond and make a contact with the pilot, the flight has vanished on the monitors. That blinking red dot was no more there. 8:47 a.m. The first flight had just crashed to the north tower of the Twin Towers. Matthew, who is so far busy with his work, is rattled by the shattering noise. He's surprised. He's worried as to what had happened. He peeps out of the window and finds the tail of a flight hooked to the northern floors, the top floors of the north building. He's baffled. It was a gory scene and he was not able to take it. He looks to the streets. The so far busy but calm New York streets are now chaotic. People running in all possible directions. He was not able to hear them scream, but he could well understand how terrorist up they could be. Matthew wastes no time. Within seconds, the emergency evacuation alarm on his floor goes off, and everybody is trying to run for their lives. He makes no second thought. He joins them and starts to run. They get to the elevators and they are not functioning. They run to the stairs. 82 stairs to come down, and Matthew is really worried about a lot of things. The gory scene of that flight hooked to the top floors of the northern building. Thoughts of his daughter and wife repeatedly keep troubling him. He's still worried if this building will collapse. Without making any other movement, he starts walking down those stairs. He's really worried as to what is happening and is so tensed with all the confusion happening around. They quickly get down a lot of stairs, but Matthew is so tired, his knees aching, and he is really worried if he will survive that day. At that time, he sees Firefighters climbing up the building, the stairs, not minding the smoke and fully aware of the fact that they may not survive the day. A firefighter walked up to Matthew and says, "Are you fine, sir? Don't worry, just some more steps to make it to the ground floor." They all rushed down. The disaster started. The second flight had crashed to the south tower. The whole building came down to ground zero within seconds, with all the thousands of people inside. Everybody screaming, and the people on the streets, within seconds their faces were covered with white debris of the building. The whole place looked so empty. By then, Kathy James had already been informed about the tragedy of her husband, and Julia Matthews is worried since she's not been able to make any communication with her husband since morning. Frightened daughter next to her, TV remote on one hand and the telephone receiver on the other. She's frantically trying to reach over to James, but is not able to win over the already jammed mobile. A brief 30 minutes had changed the fate of several people. Some dead, some hurt, and some still buried under the debris. Matthew was found amongst the debris after 3 days. He was pulled out. He looked worn out, sleepless, tired, and badly hurt. Blood oozing out from his legs. Matthew saw sun's rays after 3 whole days and nights. His left leg had to be amputated. He was hospitalized. He lay there on that hospital bed, still thinking of that unkept promise he had done to his daughter. 6 months have gone, and Matthew is back to his routine life. A lot of things have changed now. But Matthew still goes to his same office, but on a different day. He is no more walking to his office, but escorted by his wife on his wheelchair. But he still takes that 1 minute to pause and admire the scene that he used to love once. But instead of the smiles that usually come on his face, tears trickle down his cheeks. He has nothing else to do but wipe it off and says, "Whatever, life has to go."